Hi everybody, Golden Era Bookworm here, and today I want to talk about liver and how it is a natural mTOR activator for muscle hypertrophy. If you have looked at my playlists and videos regarding the topic of old school bodybuilding nutrition known as pre-bolics, you'll know that from the 1950s until about the 1980s, liver was a staple in the arsenal of supplements used by old school bodybuilders. We're talking Frank Zane, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and many others who have claimed to have taken up to 100 a day. And although the anti-exhaustion properties of liver supplementation are well known, the muscle hypertrophy inducing properties are not as well known. Whenever Vince Gironda was asked how to step up the muscle building process, he would always state that having 3 grams of liver every 3 hours upon waking until bedtime as one of the best ways to keep a positive nitrogen balance. Nowadays, that translates to having enough amino acids in your bloodstream, especially essential amino acids, to drive muscle hypertrophy. More recently, science has discovered that leucine, one of the 3 key branched-chain amino acids, is the most potent activator of mTOR to drive muscle hypertrophy. There are countless of scientific papers on this, but not much study has been done on liver and whether Vince's claims of liver driving muscle growth were true or not. The best way, of course, to approach this answer to this question is to look at the amino acid profile of liver. As you can see from this chart, which is available online and displays the amino acid profile of beef liver, as can be expected, beef liver is high in branched-chain amino acids, specifically in valine, isoleucine, and leucine, all which are known to activate muscle hypertrophy through mTOR activation. Of all 3 branched-chain amino acids, the most potent at activating mTOR signaling of muscle hypertrophy is leucine, followed by isoleucine. And some of you might be asking, well, why don't I just consume leucine or isoleucine? Why not get the same benefits and gain muscle hypertrophy? Well, the simple answer is no. Although it's easy to get lost in the science and distill it down to simple conclusions, our organisms are much more complex than a simple extrapolation of data. If anything, these branched-chain amino acids signal mTOR to begin and regulate muscle hypertrophy, but proteins are still needed to build muscle tissue. Sure, branched-chain amino acids stimulate mTOR, however, the greatest activation of muscle tissue is gained by the ingestion of a complete protein source post-workout that provides the full complement of amino acids. And sure, some of you might be asking, well, Carlos, why don't I just combine branched-chain amino acids or leucine with my protein shake? And sure, you can. And this is something many old-school bodybuilders actually did. However, let's go back to the original argument by Vince Gironda regarding liver. Knowing liver's amino acid profile, that being one high in branched-chain amino acids, it's easy for me to conclude that Vince Gironda was right. Supplementing with liver organ or desiccated liver would keep you in a positive nitrogen balance, which in other words translates to having sufficient amino acids in your bloodstream to help facilitate muscle protein synthesis. And not only that, you have the right combinations of amino acids in your bloodstream following liver supplementation. And because liver has higher amounts of branched-chain amino acids, it would also upregulate the mTOR pathway for enhanced regulation of muscle hypertrophy. On top of that, liver is a complete source of protein that supports muscle hypertrophy, unlike supplements like branched-chain amino acids alone. So now you know why old school bodybuilders like Frank Zane and Arnold Schwarzenegger would ingest up to 100 of liver capsules a day, especially as they approached competition. But is it necessary to consume so much liver? I don't think so. And many will freak out at the thought of vitamin A toxicity, which is only an issue, I guess, if you're eating something like polar bear liver, which contains 10 to 20,000 international units per gram of vitamin A. Because other than that, I have never heard or read of any other scientific paper that describes vitamin A toxicity for ingesting liver. For example, a single polar bear liver, which is about half a kilo or a pound, has an astonishing 9 million international units of vitamin A, and acute human toxicity occurs at about 300,000 international units. In comparison, beef liver contains 20,000 international units per 100 grams. But getting back to my point, there is no necessity to go overboard on ingesting liver. When I or my clients supplement with liver, we just ingest it in amounts that lead to increased energy and stamina, and you will feel these effects.
So the first time I ate it, I actually started to feel more energized, more active. I think this completely a hypothesis that I was deficient in some kind of nutrient or something like that, but I felt extremely energized. I felt like my body was telling me it was like saying, this felt so good, eat at least more times. And I started eating 150 grams of liver.
Good.
And I've been eating it every single day, even if I wasn't training.
Understand that as a natural lifter, you will never be able to eat or ingest 100 capsules of desiccated liver a day for a sustained period of time, which is equivalent to 50 or 100 grams of desiccated liver a day. That's desiccated. Multiply it by 4. When you remove water, you've got to multiply it by 4. So we're talking 200 to 400 grams, or half to 1 full pound of liver a day. That's mental. Your body will most likely reject eating more liver anyway, because believe me, when you're saturated with all these super nutrients that liver provides, you develop a distaste for it, a distaste. That is, you just don't want to eat it anymore. Your body will reject it. You'll feel like gagging, right? Vitamin A, being a fat-soluble vitamin, gets stored in your body. And when you have enough of it, you will literally gag at the thought of having more liver in your diet. And that's a sign that's actually coming from your body, that you have enough vitamin A stores and no further supplementation is necessary. Not only that, understand that old school bodybuilders, these guys, they were on steroids. So let's put things into perspective here. Steroids increase your metabolism and the need for nutrient naturally increases. Hence the need for such high quantities of food in general or liver capsules, which the old school bodybuilders tended to do. They tended to supplement with hundreds of capsules of everything every day. But even then, Frank Zane told me in our interview that he would only ever take such high amounts of desiccated liver 1 week before the show, slowly building up his intake as the competition grew closer. So, how much desiccated liver is recommended daily by most companies? 3 to 5 capsules 3 times a day, and that is more than sufficient. And that works out to be, closer to like an ounce or 2, which is about 30 to 60 grams of actual raw organ liver that you get at a butcher shop. And that is about all a natural lifter would need, providing, 3 times more than the recommended daily intake for vitamin A alone. You're going to get heaps of iron too, and many other nutrients which are fantastic for your bodybuilding nutrition. So I hope I have cleared up some questions regarding liver consumption, especially regarding its ability to increase mTOR activation of muscle hypertrophy, especially for all you gym goers that depend so much on science nowadays. Liver is a natural source of branched chain amino acids with a full spectrum of amino acids, known to stimulate the mTOR muscle hypertrophy pathway, and I prefer it any day over protein powders. I like sticking to as natural as possible. If interested in trying out desiccated liver because you can't bear the taste of eating liver, head to www.nutriest.eu and use my discount code GOLDEN15 for a 15% discount. If you liked the video, give it a like, subscribe, and leave me your comments. That's it from me. This is the Golden Era Bookworm saying bye for now. Thanks for watching. Head to www.goldenerabookworm.com for the biggest range of classic old school bodybuilding books as ebooks, e-magazines such as Iron Man and Reg Park Journal, high quality bodybuilding posters of the golden era stars, merchandise and classic gymwear featuring Steve Reeves, Marvin Eder, John Grimmick, Reg Park, and many other golden era stars. For those wishing to build a classic physique, lose fat and build muscle, online training is also available. Collectibles such as rare autographed photos from the golden era stars are also available, and to collaborate, please get in touch. Now, if you're interested in learning more about Vince Gironda's approach to bodybuilding, his principles, and all these tips of wisdom that he has, I mean, there's so much stuff that probably hasn't been proven by science, and it will take science to prove or disprove Vince. But to be honest, these 3 books, I believe, which I call the Classic Physique Bundle, are the best books that Vince ever came out with. And they, of course, are the Wild Physique, the Master Series, and the Pro Series. Have a look at it this way. The Wild Physique, I believe, is like the ABCs of Vince Gironda's principles to bodybuilding. He teaches you the exercises and his principles. But how do you put them together? Well, the Master Series is a 14-month program of using all of these principles, all of the diets that Vince came out with, all of the exercises. And of course, the Pro Series was a book that he came out with later on, specially targeted for getting into competition. It's just these 3 books, as I call it, the Classic Physique Bundle, are Vince's best work, and available, of course, at www.goldenerabookworm.com.